then I'm just getting ready to put the oil pipe and oil cooler back on. It's going to be a pain of a job. And at the same time, so I've got this little pipe here, which is the pipe that goes from the breather. So there's actually two. So you've got the main breather that goes into the air filter there, and then that little spigot there, see if we can get my finger near it, and if we can, that spigot just sort of after the end of my finger there, that is also a little breather, and that goes up to here, to the very top of the oil tank. And so it's very important to connect that, otherwise it will leak oil down the back of the gearbox. Okay, you might be able to see it. I should have done it, of course, before I put the air filter in. You might just be able to see it, just get my finger in the right place. So just to the edge of my there. Okay, that's the end of that spigot, and that little pipe simply pushes on. It's not under pressure really, and it comes up to there, but if you don't connect it, it will weep oil. Okay, got the oil lines in place now. So I've only loosely fitted the oil cooler because I'll probably be taking that off. I find the easiest thing is just to remove it completely by taking the two top hoses off when I come to adjust the tappets, because it's just right in the way. And it's the old, lazy people take the most trouble. If you can't be bothered to take the oil cooler off, it makes the job 10 times harder. So it's just a lot easier just to take the oil cooler off, get to the tappets, and then put it back on again. If you keep the oil cooler the right way up, then the oil simply won't run out, because it doesn't tend to come out of the pipes. And so if the oil cooler is stood up, you're okay. It doesn't matter, I don't think, which hose goes to which side of the oil cooler. I know there's a lot of debate about this, but basically I don't think it matters. And then you've got, on a T160, you've got two separate pipes feeding the rockers. On a T150, it's like a Siamese pipe, a single pipe that splits to two. Then the pipes come down, and then you've got springs on the pipes, on the oil pipes that go under the engine. Okay, on both of them. Now, I think the reason for that is to protect them, obviously, from things on the ground, but also to stop them rubbing on the frame and the engine as they go, round the corners. I also fit new hose clips on both, because I do know of two bikes where the hoses just come off from the bottom. One, they were very lucky and they caught it, and the other one, they didn't, and the engine was ruined. Top small pipe is the feed, the bottom big pipe is the return. So then one side of the oil cooler comes to the top of the tank there. Okay, the other side goes down, and it goes under there where we've just seen, to the back of the pump. One sort of last thing to note on the oil circulation, oil pipes, is you get the big scavenge pipe, like the big diameter one that comes up back to the oil tank. But of course, it goes to the oil tank via the rockers and the oil cooler, and then back to the tank. Okay, so the oil return goes all the way up, and then some of the oil will actually come straight back down into the engine via the rockers. Most of the oil will go into the oil cooler and then back to the tank. Okay, that's the way it works. It doesn't go straight from the pump back to the tank. That is actually the feed to the rockers and the oil cooler, and then back to the tank. Okay. That is the pipe that goes to that little spigot on the breather over there. And so that is just a breather, but don't forget to leave it off. Don't forget to put it on, otherwise it will leak. And then there's another little pipe here which comes off the oil filler. Okay, and that is a feed that goes down to there's a little pipe here, and that is basically it's a drip feed to the rear chain. Okay, and then you can actually adjust the amount of oil going to the feed with that screw. Okay, that screw there, by opening or closing that screw, you can adjust how much oil goes down to drip onto the rear chain. So what I tend to do basically is completely turn it off, and that's what I will be doing. Otherwise you'll get oil everywhere, and I think it's just better to keep your oil, the chain lubed with chain lube, spray it every so often, rather having oil dripping everywhere. Obviously it's up to you, but that's what that's for. That little pipe is your feed oil rear chain lubrication. Okay. Yeah. And then, and of course around here, that's the new anti-drain valve, and this is the feed pipe, which is loose, because what I'm going to need to do is I need to prime this pipe with oil. So when we come to put the oil in the engine, I'll disconnect this, I'll pour oil down it to make sure that otherwise it won't open the valve. If this is full of air, the valve won't open. So you need to make sure that's primed. So that's why that's not done up yet. Okay, yeah, and another thing, I mean, this is a general thing, just so I remember, with all your wires and oil feed pipe, you have to make sure that everything is clear of the carburetor, this bar here. It's very, you forget that this bar has got to come right up there when you're accelerating. And so, make sure that, let's get out of the way, just make sure that bar is completely clear, otherwise you're not going to do the throttle. Make sure your throttle cable's clear. But above all, if you have a cable, make sure that your clutch cable has a free run. Obviously this is hydraulic, so it doesn't matter so much. It's a bit short, so I've just got to find some way of routing it. But obviously, because it's hydraulic, it doesn't matter exactly where it runs. If you've got a normal cable, you have to make sure this cable is completely free. It doesn't get trapped up there or anything like that. It doesn't get caught under the tank. Otherwise, you'll have a very stiff clutch. Okay, just things while I think about them. Oh yeah, and these reflectors prone to come off. So what someone's done is they cable tied them on. There is a better way of doing it, where you can just sort of basically put locking wire. You can make it invisible. You can tie them on invisibly, which is what I've done on mine. You take the reflector off, and then you drill some holes in the back of the rubbers, and then you can put, you could probably use cable ties, actually, small cable ties that go through the rubber, and there's some holes behind the rubber that you can't see here, and then it makes an invisible way of mounting. I wouldn't glue them on. I mean, do glue them, but they just come, the glue just unsticks, and then you're looking for another reflector all the time. So they do need tying on. I would recommend always tying them on, and glue them as well. What I'm saying is just don't trust the glue. But if you want to make it invisible, you see behind there's these holes there in the end of the oil cooler, and you can use those. You could probably put a cable tie around, and you can drill holes in the rubber and then feed that through, and then screw the reflector back on, and you have an invisible one there. They're okay.